So I'm going to break kayfabe for a moment here and say I don't feel very well at all, as Brad can confirm. Isn't that right, Brad?
Yeah, you're not feeling great, are you?
No, unfortunately, this is the only day we can record. So I had to go out and buy some medicine. Given that the most iconic and enduring image of Rick Astley is that of a dorky white guy paler than a Colgate sandwich dancing around in an oversized raincoat, it's probably going to come as a shock to some people watching at home that when people first heard Rick Astley on the radio, they thought he was black. So I've already fucked up the joke about doing a shot counter in the bottom left-hand corner of the video, so fuck it, this is the second shot of the day. Right, done. So Brad, do you want to take a stab in the dark and try and guess why so many people in the 1980s assumed that Rick Astley was black?
I don't know. He's so white.
He's so white. He's whiter than me. It's ridiculous. Like, do you know what it reminds me of? How white he is. Like when you're on the character creator in Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and you can set the skin tone all the way to the brightest, and your character looks like a newly birthed dwarf star, just in human form. It's ridiculous. He's so white. But no, people thought he was a black dude. And do you know why?
Why?
I'll answer it for people now. It's because his voice is apparently too deep.
Oh.
People heard his astonishingly deep singing voice. Oh, that's a black guy right there. Really? That's a black guy. Do you think a white guy's that funky? That's a good point.
So how many people actually thought that Rick Astley was black?
Quite a lot. Because obviously, if this was just a few people who heard him on the radio, thought he was black at one point in history, that's not really a funny story. It is a funny story though if actual record executives who wanted to sign Rick Astley to their label thought Rick Astley was black, which is exactly what happened. And there are stories of Rick Astley walking into meetings with people who wanted to sign them to their label, shaking their hand and them not knowing who the fuck he is because they thought they were going to be meeting with a black guy.
Carl, you just flubbed a few takes there.
I did, yeah.
It's time for shot number 3.
Oh, fuck's sake. Let's go shout. Okay. Baby needs his bottle. Eh. Oh. Did you hear the crack in that?
Crack,
You hear the crack. Do you think it showed up on the mic?
Oh, we'll find out, I
People
suppose.
don't believe that my neck... I think, oh, you're just trying to... No, it's like my neck actually... Because obviously I spent so long sitting on my laptop like that. When I stand up... And I remember once I was in a nightclub and I was chatting up a girl. And she's like, oh yeah. And I had that twang. I went... Oh yeah, and I was trying to really subtly do it, but I just scratched my ear, and then I just went all the way around and went, Badoo! And she just walked off. It's like, oh, fuck's sake.
Just Zack Snyder on your own neck.
That's the ticket.
Bring it back though to that meeting between Rick Astley and those record executives.
Yeah, that's one of those times in history I wish I could be a fly on the wall during, because that sounds like a horrendous but glorious train wreck. Because I want to know whether a record executive ever broached the fact they thought Rick Astley was black. So I'm just imagining Rick walking in, wearing the same outfit he does in the video for Never Gonna Give You Up, because that's how I imagine he spent most of the 80s. So walks in and shakes the record executive's hand. Hi there, I'm Rick. And the record executive puts his hand out and goes, the fuck is this, to his assistant. It's like, I don't know, sir, I don't know. It's like, yeah, I'm Rick Astley. I thought Rick Astley was a black guy. I thought he was, sir. It's like, hi there, Rick, how are you doing? It's like that moment in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where I think one of Will's cousins or something, he said, oh, my fiance's coming over, and the fiance's a white guy. And they all dance around the fact he's white by going, yeah, he's really tall, isn't he?
Gee, when Janice described him, she didn't mention that he was tall.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to be quite so tall. And then Will Smith goes, am I the only one who noticed he was white?
Am I alone in this or didn't none of y'all notice he was white?
Now imagine Will Smith was sat in that meeting because he was trying to get his career launched again with him and DJ Dazzy Jeff, and he went, am I the only one who noticed that guy wasn't black? It's like Will Smith was just there throughout all of music history. He was the Samuel L. Jackson, the Nick Fury of music history. But he was just there throughout all of it, asking, out loud, the awkward questions no one had the balls to ask. Like that one, did anyone not notice that wasn't a black guy? And I was like, shut up, Will.
Oh, I've got a headache now.
I know. You're getting a headache by fucking osmosis. You can tell how much bad... Because the thing as well, you get a headache, I've got 2 fucking spotlights, one for each fucking eye, that I have to, stare past. oh, and the people say, oh, Karl, why do you blink so much? Why do you squint so much? Why do you like you got knife holes for eyes? Why do your eyeballs like keyholes turn sideways for most of these fucking videos? So I've got 2 giant fucking spotlights in my eyes. No one have got a drink to deal with this shit. Fuck's sake, man. Some fans of Rick Astley are known to have made a similar assumption about his race, and there are scattered reports from the 1980s of fans turning up to his concerts and becoming incredibly confused when Rick Astley walked out on stage and he wasn't the chiselled ebony Adonis they'd assumed that he was.
So even his actual fans didn't know he was white?
Yeah, as if like random dipshits who heard him singing on the radio and record executives thinking he was a black guy wasn't annoying enough. Rick Astley's own fan base originally thought he was a black dude. There were reports of people going to his concerts and going, who the fuck is this guy? When he came out on stage, he started singing like Never Gonna Give You Up or some of his other like, chart bangers. And my favourite part about that is people might be thinking, how is that possible? This is the time before the internet. People couldn't just Google Rick Astley. They just heard his name on the radio and thought, oh, I'll buy a ticket to this guy's concert. He sounds awesome, and turn up. And just this dude fucking turns up, like this guy, this skinny white guy in a fucking oversized raincoat turns up, starts belting out these songs they know. I'm like, who the fuck is this?
Where's my shot counter?
Well, that's when you're editing. We got to edit this bullshit. Brad editing shot count. And then it just gets to a bit that's got a lot of long words in it. And it just shoots up like 30 because you're like, this took so long to edit.
I think the longest bit I've ever cut out, I think was 12 minutes. One take, 12 minutes.
Actually, no, because we beat that record. Because we tried to record this video when I was ill until we realised, you know what fixes Karl's illness temporarily? Booze! And we got some booze, and now I'm like, in a better mood, because obviously I can think through the splitting fucking migraine I've got. The fucking Professor X must not fat migraine I'm now dealing with. But we were there, it took us 25 minutes to do the first line of this video, and we've got to fucking do something. We've got 1 day to record.
We deleted it and just gave you some alcohol.
And then, that makes you sound so fucking abusive. Karl, we need a 3rd video, and I'm there like, if people could have seen me, I was there, I'm like rubbing my temples going, Brad, I do not feel well, but we need to do this video. And we just bought booze, and I went, well, I wanted to go to the gym today, but I guess I'll just get drunk instead. So Brad, I think I've established by now that I fucking love my tangents, correct?
Yeah.
So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the story of Rick Astley getting his start in the music industry and people thinking he was a black dude is eerily similar to that of Elvis. I know people out there probably right now thinking, Karl, how dare you? How fucking dare you sully the name of a great artist by comparing them to Elvis? Shut up, Brad. He's going somewhere. But people don't know, when Elvis first started making music, a lot of people assumed he was black too. And there's a great story about this where he first appeared on a radio station that was predominantly aired in black neighbourhoods. They couldn't outright say that Elvis was white because you weren't allowed to do that kind of thing back then. And so what the radio presenter did is they asked Elvis, which school do you go to? And he responded, blah 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 school. And obviously that school was an all-white school. So that subtly indicates to the audience, yeah, this guy's white.
Oh, for God's sake.
Mate, I'll buy you another one, fuck it.
It's not about that, it's just that I know there's going to go past a certain point where this gets really hard to do.
No, it's fine, don't worry about it.
So was there anyone else who didn't think that Rick Astley's voice was actually his own voice?
Well, in addition to having to deal with incredulous record producers and fans who insisted that the voice they'd heard on his records didn't belong to him, Rick Astley has also had to spend, I think, basically his entire career arguing with the press and journalists who insist that the voice heard on his records has been somehow artificially enhanced by digital trickery.
So are the press and journalists right about that? Has his voice ever been altered?
It has been altered, but not in a way that Rick Astley approved of, because on his earlier albums they would layer his voice multiple times to make it sound louder. But Rick Astley himself has gone on record as saying, I think that makes the songs it's used in sound worse.
Wasn't that layering technique you were talking about? That was popular at the time, wasn't it?
It was, yes, and Astley has admitted that layering vocals was popular in the 80s, but I personally don't feel it added anything to my songs because my voice is strong enough on its own. as any clip of Astley singing live will confirm.
So did this placate anyone at all?
Absolutely not, because so many people believe for so fucking long that Rick Astley was not the Rick Astley singing on the songs, and they believe that Rick Astley was a stand-in for some mysterious black guy that no one had ever seen or heard of, who wanted, for some reason, all of his songs to be credited to some skinny white dude.
So who do the conspiracists think this mysterious black guy was?
We don't actually know. All we know is that they thought that Rick Astley couldn't have possibly sung all these songs, so you got some mysterious black guy, we don't know, to sing all of his songs for him. Okay, Brad, I can't get this line out, so just, Brad, say it for me, please, while I take a drink.
Well, what Karl was trying to say was, he thinks it's pretty amazing that rather than believing that Astley was just that good a singer, people would buy into a conspiracy theory that he was secretly a giant black man in disguise, which would obviously explain the coat he wears in that video.
Hey.
So from this point onwards, I'm just not going to cut this.
Thanks.
It's going to be a full stretch, just 'cause I want people to see that you are actually a little bit drunk.
I'm a little bit drunk, yeah. I am a little bit, drunk, as they would say in, the dictionary. The person who is not fully in control of their actions. I'm a little bit... Oh, God.
Show everyone how much you've actually drank, because I think, is it over half? Okay, it's well over half.
It's over half. I had to buy this from Brad. While we went through the... when my shirt just exploded off my body and disappeared. During that time where we were, uploading this footage to where the fuck Brad...
Yeah, we ran out of space on the memory card because we messed... Well, I say... Karl messed up so many takes. So during that period, he took off his shirt, sat on my bed, complained a bit, and then paid me for the alcohol he's drank more.
I'm taking this shit home because I'm drinking all tonight as well. Because fuck it, I'm not going home drunk to sleep on my own. Fuck that shit.
Are you going to be careful with that one?
It's mine now, I bought it.
And then I don't need to smash anything. You're actually pretty good at... Oh, it's...
I wanted a fucking bar, you bellend! Look at that shit, oh!
Did you drink on the bar?
Yes!
Were you drunk while working?
Yes. If people bought me a shot, I would drink that fucking shot. So I was fucking like, what's up? Oh, I caught it! Oh god, oh no, it sounds like Karl works in a bar, oh!
I think I'm going to stop this now. I'm going to...
Done!
Hello and welcome to the 2023 Snooker Championships. We're here with the highlights of today's game between G and the world champion Dandeli. I'm joined here by my co-host Nisha. How are you doing today?
Pretty good on this warm, sunny May day.
Very warm day today.
Good day for a spot of snooker.
Indeed it is. There were some very unusual manoeuvres in this particular game.
Yeah, I think it was probably one of my favourite games. Especially that classic that G pulled off, the Ultra Nerd 257. I've never seen that done before in a game.
No, I haven't. I've seen it in rookie games, but never in a professional competition. I also saw the return of a famous Maxwell Steese manoeuvre. Have you watched this one here?
Ah, yes.
Yes, a very impressive move there by Dandeli.
I don't think I've seen that performed since it was Onyxia in the final.
Yes, 1967 I think that one is. Correct me if I'm wrong on our Twitter feed.
And here... Wait, no, I don't want to see. I thought it was David Attenborough. Here we have the Amy Brundridge.
And here, Amy Brundridge. If you look very closely here at the fingers, you can see that the Amy Brundridge hold is being used here to perform this manoeuvre, and it is spectacular to see.
It is, but it is being countered by the malcontent robot, which I think is a bit more of a strong manoeuvre.
Perhaps if he'd played a Lyndon B. Johnson instead, he could maybe have performed better in that situation.
Well, he did a lot better than Anders Lee in that last frame, if you recall.
Yes, Anders Lee, one of the unfortunates of the snooker.
And here we have the epic Lies of the move. Very good call.
It was an interesting play, that one. I thought that the RR7567 would be deployed, but not in this situation, no.
Followed by the Saint 14.
I've not seen the Saint 14 perform like that since 2002, when I believe Kaloran was the champion.
Oh, against Sean Watson, yeah.
Yes, that was a fantastic game.
Great game.
I remember towards the end when it got more intense. I remember screaming, "Taylor Brandwood!"
Anyway.
That famous Yorkshire catchphrase.
Anyway, back to our game right here. My Shoes Hurt 69. That's a good maneuver by Dandaloo.
Yes, impressive maneuver to use the shoe to perform an actual hit. Very rare and very, very sought after by many. Some are completely unable to remove their shoes mid-game.
Clearly an inspiration from Ian Lewis.
Yes, Ian Lewis was the one who perfected that.
Lewis? I can never say that name.
This is impressive. I do not think I've seen a Sam TDS performed in such a way.
Oh, they're countered by the Tam McKee. Oh, this is getting tough.
It's getting very spicy.
Looking at Dandeli's face, looks like she could do with Mr. Bad Boy Patch right now.
Yes, could be very useful. I believe this maneuver we're seeing here was popularised by Robert Hutton.
A move also perfected by Alicia.
I think that was the Impy that Alicia perfected.
Are you sure?
You see an example, just here, this example here.
Ah, they're pulling out all the moves this time.
Indeed.
Here comes G with I think a move he is trying to claim as his own, the Grim Backhaul.
Yes, we've seen a similar move, but not quite what he performs here. But the most spectacular moment of this, the ending, I cannot believe that the Ziran King stroke was performed before my very eyes.
Amazing stuff.
Incredible. Well, thank you all for joining us for the snooker. This snooker match, as my commentator puts it in one of the outtakes.
Yes, that is the correct term.
If you would like to hear your name read out in some comical way, join our Patreon at the VIP tier.
Thank you.
And remember, snook your heart out. That's my snooker catchphrase.